even they use it for their flaws, their roads. That means they don't flood prone environments. They use all these bricks made from uh, plastics. So this kind of plastic road or let's say buildings, they withstand erosion. They have when it comes to heavy rainfall, and when it comes to salt water intrusion, these are the best kind of products we can use that's very economical rather when we want to use them. And one of the things I want to talk about before I talk about the economic part of it is that it's something that is feasible in Nigeria too as well. And without even going too deep, I think we have seen people using plastic for buildings in Nigeria already. In Kaduna, so one engineer is currently on that project, and this is the building that can serve for over 300 years. So whatever we are actually producing from our waste is kind of strong and uh, very cost effective. So and when it comes to bricks, that's what they have been using very well. I've started seeing some students doing that too as well. In I think that's in Mali. That's where they are doing that already in Mali. They are doing that in Nigeria already too, and they are very strong. And they can actually replace our costly bricks that we use when it comes to people living close to water and flood-prone environments. And as I said earlier, it provides low cost and resilience house and flood barriers for informal settlements, just like people in Makoko. I think that's one of the places we have very flood-prone areas in Nigeria. We have that in Delta too as well. We have that in Bayelsa. I've been to Bayelsa before too, and I've seen the environment. If you dig floor like this, in next before you even go for a while, uh, you can actually feel that the water is coming already. So you can actually feel that water is coming already, and you the same thing with Deltas and Lagos too as well. Um, and these bricks actually they are more strong, and just like what I said earlier, they withstand erosions when it comes to heavy rainfall. There was one time like that we were trying to construct a ball for them by yourself, and I thought it's just the usual way we used to do it here. And before you know, in less than 3 minutes, even we could not erect the scaffold that day because of the environment and making use of waste resistant block bricks. Let me use bricks are more useful in this kind of project. And I think we have one and there's a way they can still use it that they can adjust the ratio to fit the tropical humidity and soil type of the environment because that's one of the things I get to know when I go to Biosurvey that different soil, different environment. Yenagoa is different from Asiporo and different problems as far as they are living in the same state. So it's possible and it's working already. And I believe it's something we can all embark on. And how would these products or protect our land from erosions? We are creating green job, just like what you said. We said these plastic bricks can actually be used to reinforce river bank. That's what those people close to river bank, and prevent erosions. And also too, we can also use this for construct elevated pathway and flood resistant resilient home. Yeah, for them, and that's one of the things I'm considering for Makoko because this is one of the projects I'm actually working on currently now. And I've discovered that they built a lot of schools on water, and after 3 years or 2 years, the whole building collapsed and they have been using wood and we
Uh,
are actually considering something like this. Yes, even one architect actually did that the last 2 years. Very beautiful building for less than 2 years, everything collapsed because of the rate of water depth and the environment. The water is polluted already. That's another big problem
mm,
there. So and building urban drainage infrastructure too that diverts water away from settlement. I think that's one of the key points, and I think we use this opportunity to just speak to our engineers, our project leads, our government. when they are doing, I've seen that a lot. This is one of the things they can implement instead of using common bricks because they are trying to save costs. They use common bricks, and within few
Mm,
days you see everything collapsing now. Embarrassing, not even very very embarrassing because they know already and they are aware of the environment. So, and for youth empowerment in circular economy, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for them. Some of them can engage in technical apprenticeship rather in eco engineering. They can engage on, and we have some of them can actually work on scalable social enterprise, especially through our technical schools, vocational education. That's like polytechnic, college of education. I think it's something we can actually implement as well. Because when I was in undergraduate, it's something we did. We do some tests and some other tests in civil engineering lab. And if we can inculcate using our waste with these materials, they will reduce the cost and more usable and something that we can even use all over the places. They are environmental friendly. So they are not different from the one that are highly costly. So I think it's a good idea that we can actually bring on board and it will work and it's
wow.
achievable.
Thank you so much for that. That's a lot of facts and information in that, and I'm sure we have diverse kind of people on this call listening in to see points of collaborations and of impact. Uh, Sir Daniel Oderide, you have been at the forefront of a lot of these things, and as our discussant, we have questions we would like to ask, and we want to really know what how these things play out at the forefront. Given that about 9% of plastics are recycled globally as of now, what systematic challenges hinders effective plastic waste management in Nigeria, and how can this be addressed? Addressed to the point that the uh, the average person on this call, an individual who is not directly on this call, or no, I mean that is not directly into plastic waste management, can have a glimpse of how to participate and the prospects and possibilities of wealth and impact that can be done through this, sir. Over to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. And it's been a very wonderful discussion so far. So, there are lots of challenges that we are faced with as a nation today when it comes to resolving the plastic waste issue. So, I'll first start by saying there are also a lot of reports as regards the numbers. While we did our research, our baseline analysis with the NPAP, we came about 12.9 million tons of plastic waste with a baseline year of the year 2020. However, there are some other reports that give lower figures to about maybe 2.5 million tons, 5 million tons, some 3 million tons. So it's all speaking to the fact that we don't even understand the problem. We don't understand how magnified this problem is in terms of numbers. Most data collection have been based on secondary sources, and these have not really helped the situation. So that is a big challenge on its own. Then we now cascade down to the infrastructural challenges that we are faced with. How the governments have not paid so much attention to the fact that there is a need to address plastic waste. For some government institutions, it's still like a nice to have, while other governments in other advanced countries are taking it very seriously and fulfilling the sustainable development goals. So this is a challenge, and it's affecting infrastructure because the government is meant to, provide this infrastructure. We've been talking about establishing this repeated waste collection system in Nigeria for how many years now, and it hasn't worked. Lagos State tried it at a point using the Blue Box initiative, and there were not so good results of that. However, we remain resilient. It's not something that should die down. So, infrastructure to boost collection of plastics and other waste items, sorting them rightly so that when infrastructure comes in. I mean, and the roads network are there, the trucks are there, to pick up the sorted waste. Then it's a smooth system. So that's a challenge on its own. While I will speak to the solutions too, I think it's good to also give insights about solutions too. So yeah, boosting that infrastructural system is very needful, and the government needs to pay more attention towards recycling and proper waste management aside just collection. We see the likes of Loma and the waste management authorities of different states collecting waste in that commingled form and probably incinerating or dumping at dump sites, not even landfills. And this is not really the right way to address waste. So building the right infrastructures in terms of engineered landfills will go a long way, and boosting the mechanical side of the mechanical side to treatment too, and will really help. There's also innovation that can come into this, and I'll give examples to you. You know, recently UNIDO churned out about 25 reverse vending machines in collaboration with the Japanese government, and we have Ekobata as the managing partner. And so this is the kind of innovative solutions we want to see to tackle these challenges. So when we have those reverse vending machines in different centers, it gives the public that sense of responsibility to see that, yes, while there is an opportunity to actually recycle waste, there's also incentives attached to it. So the reverse vending machine is not just collecting your plastics, it's giving you rewards for participating in that collection. So yes, and it's also tied to our awareness. So when you boost that awareness, imagine this reverse vending machines. Although the number is quite small, I don't know how many locations that have been stationed. I mean, but it's a good start. If other organizations can replicate this solution, then imagine how effective that will be. So boosting collection, boosting awareness. We've seen a lot of school recycling programs. We've seen that there's this drive to include recycling, waste management in curriculums and things like that. So that should be, boosted further to ensure that even the children now, not just the youths and even the adults, get to understand the severe effects of wrongly disposing plastic in the society as it is. So another challenge is the fact that most private sector organizations are not taking responsibility. So there's what we call the EPR, and organizations are meant to, that's the extended producer responsibility, to see that you donate some kind of funds to facilitate the collection or the treatment of the waste plastic you put out there. Most private companies are defaulting in this part, and that is why we've seen NESRIA, the Federal Ministry of Environment, and other organizations trying to see how they can sort this out, because there's a weak policy situation that is not allowing the EPR to be effective. We have the National Policy on Plastic Waste Management. We have a lot of policies by NESRIA, the policies around the EPR, but they're not well implemented. So what we now see happening now is the fact that most of this institution are beginning to have implementation guidelines. So these implementation guidelines will really help towards actually achieving the aims of the policy. So there's now the implementation guideline on the National Plastic Waste Management Policy, and also implementation guidelines for the EPR. So those kind of things would facilitate the implementation of the policies and really tackle these challenges. So I think I'll stop there now, and let's see how the direction that this conversation goes. Thank you.
Discussion. All
Yes.
right, sir. Just a quick one, almost like a
Okay.
follow-up question to this, because I want them to go together in pair.
Yes.
To a business person who sees us doing World Environmental Day, they are not interested so much in the theories and the grammars. They want to ask this second question I'm about to ask. That
Okay.
is, what policies would make plastic waste a new cash crop for rural families? So, what are the economic viabilities of plastic waste that, let's say, a family struggling with living above the $1 thing per day is trying to do? They just hear about these things. These are the possibilities, and they get in and they start seeing opportunities. What policies would make plastic waste a new cash crop for rural families, sir?
All right, thank you. So it's more about the government incentivizing the system. So policies towards creating incentives for the collection of plastic, and so I'll take it in two or maybe three ways now. When it comes to policy, you can give out a policy that is targeted at collecting plastic. There's a lot of policy to ensure that the private sector do this and that and this and that. There are policies as regards even the the mechanical parts to it. Okay, you must reduce plastic use. We see that organizations or private sector organizations like Nestle, for instance, incorporated 50% recycling content. So that's policy driven, and we've seen that they've been able to achieve that. So some are dematerializing. The plastic bags are getting thinner and things like that. In fact, they're even getting phased out. So those are policy drives in that area to ban, to phase out plastics. But when it now comes to the community now, the government can create policies around fund managers, boosting the percentage of fund they give towards circular economy projects or circular economy initiatives. And so that is how it gets to the grassroots, the people. And so the likes of Smidan, for instance, I know Smidan is big on empowering SMEs and MSMEs towards having viable business opportunities grow and things like that. So there could be policies to make SMID and give more incentives in that area, such that organizations are setting up systems that can help people at that grassroots participate more in recycling. I've been to Kenya where villages, not really villages, but rural areas, we've seen separated waste collection work there. Here in Nigeria, we're thinking that it's probably the elite that should get to understand it better, the high-end estates, but we've seen it work even in rural areas. So we see those communities, they have a recycling center, and they've been able to preach that message that, okay, there's a possibility to actually sort your waste in your different homes. Will come to collect it, will give you rewards, and they are building a lot of how to say, social initiatives around it. Waste pickers are helping each other. They are having informal sessions, even aside recycling. They are helping one another. They have cooperatives, for instance, daycare centers to help their children. So it's good. The story is just beyond recycling now when those initiatives are empowered. So we want to see policies that would enable recycling companies or aggregators to be able to implement those initiatives that would reach the grassroots such that they're able to sort their waste, they're able to bring their waste for collection, and they're able to get those rewards. So I think I've said the policies in different brackets
Okay.
from the angle of infrastructure for now. For instance,
Yeah.
the angle of the private sector doing the right thing as regards the APR, and the fund managers, the likes of Smidan, and it can even be targeted to even private fund managers like Leap Africa, Oxfam, and things like that, to see how they can also boost or increase the percentage allotted to waste management or circular economy initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's getting good right in here. So let me emphasize for everyone on this call that the goal of the Graduate Research Clinic, one of our goals is actually to achieve impact, to scale, to network. So are you on this call and you find the things being said here to align with your current research, or you know someone that would benefit from this meeting? First, share the link with them. We can start from there. Secondly, at the end of the call, would have some time out for us to network, to connect. Someone working on this in Bielsa can connect with someone doing something like this in the UK. So it's collaboration. That is the new wisdom. It's the new way to go. So let's move it forward. Ms. Agbolawan Eunice, let me come back to you now. All right. So we want to know how communities can actually use local stories. We at the GRC, we are African centered. Yes, we want to understand how we can use multidisciplinary approach to affect and impact Africa. So how can communities use local stories, arts, or social media to show the world, although we saw a video earlier and all that, to show the world how climate change first affect Nigeria so that global funds can support real solutions here. What innovative ideas can you drop on us today that would help us rethink waste in this regard? Thank you so much. Eunice, you are muted.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Can you hear me
welcome
now?
back.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
100%.
Yeah. So we all know that youths are like the bigger picture in social media on social media at the moment. And when a trend starts being created, it goes viral and there are a lot of things that goes on after it, and people could get preferred solutions from those trends and the problems. There are several videos that I've seen probably on TikTok or Instagram where floods happen to families, and people's life get changed, or people's situation is being solved based on the help they get from social media, from people commenting and all of that. And this is where the youth active online activism comes in. And I know that there are a lot of blogs that are being made by youths apparently already in Nigeria. However, social media platforms like WhatsApp, TikTok, Instagram can also be used. Youths in US, when I was doing my research for my thesis, for my masters, I I could see youths in US making trends, and he propelled something in the youths in the comment section where they all gathered together at the end of the day to like to go on to do things. And there is a particular young lady, a 17-year-old young lady. I can't remember the country now. However, I know that that particular young lady used her wisdom to actually go outside and just stay on the road, and talking about climate change. And this gave the youths, both the youths, because she waited for quite a long time because no one would like answer her at first, but she kept on going back and back every day. And then this made her being known, and then people started taking pictures and videos. Youths from all across, they all came together, and then this made her even famous and made the what she's trying to like make aware to the whole community about climate change. This how do I put it now, created awareness in that line. So we know that social media, it's a very great tool for creating trends and energizing the youths to go on the streets and to protect the country, Nigeria, and all the globally against climate change issues. Also, I'll make mention of art. Daniel already mentioned something about art being inculcated into the students' curriculum. And I work in this educational sector here in the UK, and I've seen a lot of students being given freedom of choice to actually make whatever they want into their projects. So they could be in art departments, they could be in media, and then they are being given, oh, do this, do that. However, they are being given freedom of choice to make a choice on what projects they want to work on. And I've seen a particular student who has been able to choose climate change. He was so particular about it, and um, I was so energized that I actually helped him go around making surveys and all of that. So these are infusing into the curriculum, and also giving the student freedom of choice to for what they want to achieve in their projects, I believe. Um, Also, this um talk of Nollywood actors. Nollywood actors are now growing so fast, and they are brilliant at the moment. I mean, continually they will be. And I know that in US, the Hollywood, they are brilliant as well. And I've seen movies on Netflix whereby they create awareness on plastic pollution, where um oceans in the few in the fishes in the sea, they get infected by these situations, and then it affects even the populace themselves. So movies like this, and or let's say local stories, like you said, local stories about what is happening currently in Nigeria, how plastic is being thrown, swimming into the ocean, and all of that. This could be brought to light, and like I said, the youth has the upper hand, because whatever the youth says, I don't know how it just transforms into being empowered by the adults, and they get challenged by it, and then they make something out of it. And I would also mention merging of traditional and digital skills to resonate with diverse audiences. There are traditional skills that have been brought up, that has been left behind by the ones that our ancestors did, the ones that our and the millennials did, and these skills cannot just be killed. They could actually be brought back together with the digital that we have at the moment, and creating graphic designs, things that would in arts that would propel people to want to actually make a change. And I think we've been seeing that as well at the moment. We see degradation and deforestation and several climate change issues. Partnership with global platforms. Um, Before I move on to partnership, so this merging of traditional and digital skills, it helps other countries, the whether Westerners or the people that want to like collaborate, have a better understanding of what is going on, and it catches their attraction, their attention, um, for them to want to collaborate and to partner with the with other countries. Um, like I said, partnership with global platforms for visibility and resources. And this is where we have technology transfer from other countries down to our country. And I'll make mention of Ocean Plastic Leadership Network. They actually, at the moment, aim to expand this, the effort they are making, collaborating with different countries. And they are aiming to expand into like collaborating with like 20 countries worldwide. So if we make our steps rightly, definitely we can collaborate with a lot of grants out there and a lot of partnerships out there. I'll make mention of uh a student, sorry, a 17-year-old Amara Nweleli, who transformed a trash dumping ground into a playground using recyclable materials. She won this 2025 Earth Prize with a sum of 12,500. This would definitely, we know what this would actually help her into, like benefiting, to be able to create other playgrounds like this that she's wanting to develop. And also, this is Earth Prize. So if she's winning that, there's definitely more that we can do. And she's a 17-year-old young person. So therefore, we can receive grants, funds, partnerships, collaborations from other countries, Western worlds, and etc. like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was insightful, extensive, and impactful. All right. I would like to know more about that Nelly girl, but I'm sure we can learn a lot from her. If you are just joining us, this is the World Environmental Day celebration, and we are concerned primarily today. We are concerned about our land, our future, ending plastic pollution. So we believe at the GRC that conversation is the first step to action, and our words are born out of our thoughts. And right here at the GRC, we have refined thoughts and actionable conversation. Before we go on a water break, I would like to ask Oluwadara Adewoye just one question. It's clear from the previous conversations we are having that definitely this is this can be turned into wealth. But if it can be turned into wealth, it means there's something going on before. So I would like to ask, based on your research and observation, Adewale Darasimi, what are the most pressing impacts of plastic pollution on Nigeria's terrestrial and aquatic environments? And almost like it, should every Nigerian school have plastic innovation labs? How does that work? Where students can build rainwater harvesters from bottles. Can you help us look into this and just give us an insight into the impact and into the viability in Nigerian schools? Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. This is actually an interesting process. I have to say that um, Nigerians, we have to take it up. Just like I think one of the speakers said something like Nigerians don't actually, you don't pay attention to things like this, to overlook it. And to be sincere with us, when it comes to our terrestrial and aquatic environment, um, plastic waste is one of the major issues we are facing. And I think I grew up in an environment that I noticed that whenever there's rain or the weather just changes, that's when people think drainage is the best place to dispose their waste. And fortunately and unfortunately, some of them actually got the effect of that. I do get to know one that they needed the race started there. So it's like a long shot. That putting this, I'm talking of like 10 years back. So they dropped the waste inside the drainage, thinking probably the rain is going to stay long. But unfortunately, the rain stopped next 30 minutes. So they have to stop in next person's shop. So they have to be shouting, who dropped this? Who dropped this? So which just say that we just have to take it up, even urban area like Lagos, and this has caused flooding in different places. Currently, the one of Mokwa in Niger State is still one of the issues. I think Lagos State has faced the same issues like that. Ibadan too, Bayelsa too, Benin too, and some other states in Nigeria like that. And these are the pressing impact of plastic pollution on us. It's very interesting side of it. Then when we talk about the aquatic environment, that's another thing entirely. When you talk about Nigeria, I've talked about Nigeria being among the most plastic polluted in West Africa. And personally, my own side, if you check this, Makoko will be there. So I will actually put Makoko there because I've been to Makoko several times and I've seen how the water that was clean before have actually turned to something else. Very black, very, very black. And it's due to the pressing impact of plastic pollution. And even at the point, all these Aboki people, the Hausa people, they enter the water peak, but it's still not enough, still enough. And we discovered that microplastic entered fish stocks, which impact our food safety, which is the major concern for us. And okay, so someone say Makokai. Okay. And we have to take it serious. Some of us think it does not concern us. That's one of the major issues we have in Nigeria. So we think it does not concern us, and most of us are eating this fish. If you know Makoko very well, Makoko is a like environment meant for Ilaje people. That's people that deal with fish. That's what they do, fishing and other things like that. And as far as history is concerned, they said earlier when they got there, like almost if not 50 years back, the place was so neat and clean. But now it has turned to black. Even before they can get fish, they have to move in. And despite the fact, I can tell you that up to like 50% of the water is full of plastic. Also, up to 50% of the water is full of plastic, and this is the fish they are selling out to everybody to eat. And you see how bad it is for us, for our health. And aside that, it block waterway that lead to inland flooding and habitat loss. And I think Nigeria, we are used to believe when issue occur, that's when news and other things will pick it up, and everybody will run up and down. And the government after 1 week will show up, give them belief and some other things, which I personally always clamoring on. mitigation method, which is better by educating rural communities, those people that pollute the environment by being responsible for their waste. Because most of these things are the one that cause loss of habitats and that cause major flooding. Because most of us in Nigeria will believe it's actually spiritual and quote that probably it's from God, but it's not like that. It started gradually, and we did on it. All our drainage filled up, all the major pathway for water actually been filled up already. And this actually pushed to some industries too. When I got to Makoko, we doing some research and they told us that we have two industries. I won't mention their names here. That they use the water as a means of disposing their waste, which is very, very bad. Which is very, very bad. And what the funny thing is that when issue occur in that environment, these are the companies that will say they want to give relief to as well, which is it's not proper. So there's a lot of impact of this in our community, and I believe we should be able to be responsible. We should be responsible for it, and that's just the key, and that's what climate justice is all about. And also, Nigerian schools should have plastic innovation lab. I think this is a great one. And I'm actually happy that to all of the things we are doing currently. Currently, I've been on school tour since Tuesday to yesterday. I was in school again, and we are trying to. It seems like it's getting very hard to train and empower elderly ones now because they are already solidified. So when you tell them to do this, they are doing this. So we change the game. They will start moving to schools to speak with young ones from age of 10 to 20. Then, and I was surprised seeing these people, the greater things they're doing, and the way they took it up immediately we got there. And with this kind of method of having plastic innovation labs, where students can build water harvesters for bottles, it's something they have been doing in Uganda before. I think I saw something like that in Uganda, and they have been doing that in Uganda. And I think in Mali too, they have been doing that. One of my boss shared that with me too as well. That's something they have been doing. And the reason why they started this is there was water scarcity. There was no rain as they expected. So they have to just think of way to inculcate this. And so I think so in Kaduna they are doing something related to that as well, but not really fully into that. So and I would say this should be policy backed. It should not just be a mere word because it's not to be enforced, but just to make it a very sustainable one. So plastic innovation labs will teach youth STEM skills, that's science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and through practical and low-cost projects. And I think they will be involved and they will actually make the best of it. Because if you have been to school before and you see these young children, the way they are very active, they are proactive about this, and they are ready to do that. Immediately we left the school, we started saying to them picking bottles up and that. They know how to sort their waste already. And it also creates awareness for environmental responsibility because these young people will be responsible. There's no way, and it should be part of curriculum. That's one major thing I would like to say. It should be maybe one of their environmental science or civic education curriculum that it is mandatory for everybody. Either you are in science class, commercial class, arts, you should do it because it will provide a real solution to likely rainwater harvesting system. And even they will know how to do engage on biosand filters, compost bins, and some other interesting things. And I think wherever they find themselves doing, they can actually inculcate this habit. That means sustainable environment, how they can sustain the environment. They won't just be like you see some people in their career they believe anything that concerns the environment does not concern them, and that their own is maybe tech. So they believe as far as they are always in office or good place, it does not concern them. But if young people are being trained from the scratch with this kind of habits, I think it's going to be a lot. It's going to be, and I think I will use this one to just a good shout out to Lagos State. Lagos State is doing great job, and I think Osun State and some other states are doing something. If they make it compulsory for you to have great club in schools, so that those young people can be involved and they can know how to maintain their environment because they are the one that will take the responsibility now. And okay, I think with that, I think young people should be able to take charge. So that's just the best. They should be able to take charge and we have to be involved. We have to be involved. Even we young ones that are not currently in secondary school, we have to be involved too as well. It's something we can implement too as well. We can take it up as a project. And as I got this question, I have to put it in part of the curriculum we are putting it for students that establishing a lab for them so that they can work with their bottles and the style of cycling their bottles, not only recycling them, but the style of cycling them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for that insight. We would continue the conversation after the bedroom break, and I would employ, in case you have questions or contributions, if you are free enough to type them in the comment section, please do so. If you would like to say them, immediately we take the remaining questions. We would go into the Q&A session, and you can direct your questions directly to the panelists and discussants. So for the next 5-10 minutes, we will be watching a video related to waste, and that would be our break. How many of us are actually having a wonderful session along with us today? It has been a very insightful session today. So please stay tuned with us, and we would get into it after this break.
Every year, over 11 million metric tons of plastic find their way into our oceans. Sea creatures mistake them for food. Turtles die entangled in waste meant for the landfill. But one woman in Lagos, Nigeria, has turned sorrow into action.
I would say that reduce your plastic, reduce as much as possible. Plastics that cannot be recycled, most of them get to the landfill, most of them get into our waterways, and it affects the turtles. So if you want to protect turtles, if you're not close to a beach, the most powerful thing you can do right now is to reduce the amount of plastics that you use in your homes.
Through youth engagement and ocean literacy, recycling for sustainable waste management isn't just rescuing turtles, it's rebuilding a future. But what if plastic waste wasn't just waste? In Ibadan, Nigeria, Jumoke Olowokere, Director, African Creative Sustainable Synergy Hub, is turning trash into treasure and empowering communities through creative upcycling.
I believe the first thing we need to do is to share the information, is to make people be aware. Because in my line of business, I've realized that many people actually don't even know, the consequences of their actions. And so I believe education is the first thing that we need to do. We need to create a lot of advocacy and a lot of awareness program for people to know that waste can be honest, that waste is not waste until you waste it. People need to know the informed decisions and choices they make, and how it affects the environment, and how it affects the future generation from also enjoying what we have been enjoying. So I feel the first thing we need to do as a community is to raise awareness, is to share information, is to let people know. So education, awareness, advocacies, information is the first thing we need to do to empower, meaningful action. Because when people know, then you have empowered them. You have given them the power to make a choice. You have given them the power to say yes or no. You have given them the power to make, to do other things that they would normally not do with their waste. People think, once I'm done with my waste, the next thing I need to do is to just throw it away. But if they know that throwing it away is actually, reducing their power to make wealth. So when people know that waste is wealth, then they will make informed choices. I will say a major challenge that we've encountered is people's mindset. People not wanting to change. People used to doing a particular thing in a particular way and not wanting to change. So people believe, there's even a Yoruba proverb that supports it, that says, "Me ole fowo ra eko, ki n tun ma fowo da ewe nu." You know, there's this mindset that once waste is waste. So what is it meant to be used for if not to be thrown away? And there's also this mindset that I can throw it away anywhere I like, any available space. And that is what will inform somebody that will, be in his or her car, buy a drink, because there's this mindset, I'm done with it, let me throw it away. And that away, it doesn't matter. Anywhere available, I can throw it. That is the major challenge that we're faced in this sector. Mindset of people thinking, why do I have to sort my waste? Why can't I just put all my waste together? Why can't my paper, my food waste, my plastic, why can't it just be in one drum? That is even for people that decides to put a drum in front of their house. And so it starts from the government for it, because how will you expect an household to do a one bin disposal and you expect that it will work or it will be sustainable? That is not going to work. We have to start from sorting, and that is the first major challenge that we've been facing, that we have not even been able to achieve. Every home should have at least minimum of 3 bins, so that it can be sorted, so that each of the waste can be sorted. If you have a 3 bin, method in your space, where you put all your paper waste in one, you put all your can waste in one, or your plastic waste in one, and then you put your food waste in one. Food waste should never be mixed with plastic and other form of waste, because food waste is actually another form of resource. Food waste can be converted into fertilizers, into manure, and once it is sorted out, it's easier. Even it can be turned into money. It can be collected for incentive. Because if I have, for example, if I have a manure, if I have a compost, making site, I need as much food waste as I can get. But once it is mixed up with other waste, then it's a lot of issues to try to sort it out. And so I will say the major challenge we've faced so far is people's mindset about waste, where they can dispose to, how they can dispose anyhow as they like without nobody picking them. Or even imagine this, in the law of Oyo State environmental, laws, we are not supposed to burn refuse. But are we not burning refuse now? Has anybody been penalized? Has anybody been, punished for that? And so another major challenge we face is lack of implementation of policies, lack of implementation of laws. We have laws that are supposed to guide us, but we don't implement it. Nobody's being punished for not doing the law, or nobody is being rewarded for doing the law. And I would say opportunities are abounding, because every single challenges that we have mentioned is an opportunity for somebody to actually make money. It's an opportunity if, for example, now you introduce 3 bin, and you are able to get some people to subscribe to that, and you are able to get companies that will pick up each of these bin and even reward your customers with incentives. It doesn't have to be cash. It can be food stuff, it can be other things. We've seen this model, we've seen people using it, and we've seen it work. And so every single area of challenges that we have faced is actually an opportunity. Women, entrepreneurs, young innovators, they can become key drivers to fight against plastic pollution through education, design, and eco solutions. Definitely, they can. Everybody needs to put their hands on deck, because women are the mothers, they are the nurturers, they are the one that controls the society. Women are the ones that give instructions in the family. Women are the one that leads by example. Women are the first contact to every new birth. And so women and youth, they play a very, very, key role as drivers, as examples. We need to set that example. We need to lead by example. We need to go ahead and, share whatever we know, collaborate
I think there's been a issue with the host, so we'll just have to wait a bit until he gets back. Jen, are you back now?
No, sir, just a minute.
Okay.
And I am back. I am back fully active. All right. That was actually the end of the break. I wanted to come back in. All right, we're all welcome. So this, we're all welcome to the meeting. Welcome to the meeting once again, and we'll get back into it. We've heard a lot from Oluwadara Adewoye. We've heard innovative ideas and facts from Eunice Bolangon. From my experience and our scholarship, Daniel Derrinde has given us um, various perspectives on this as well. And we want to just go a little deeper and get some things before we transition to the Q&A. So, Eunice Bolangon, I would like to ask you this question as we proceed. Okay. Hope you're back with me.
Yes.
All right then. All right then. A quick one. So, how can Nigeria exports abroad and in this regard, or looking forward to creating solutions like this, how can they help villages access simple recycling tools or weather apps without waiting for the government to do these things for them?
Okay. One of the important aspect is collaboration and partnership. And without that, like you said, is one of the new ways of achieving results of achieving global results and achieving a particular goal, especially in climate change issues. Um, at the moment, I'll just use myself as an example, whereby from my research, from my thesis, I got the energy, the passion to actually just want to know more about climate change, and it actually drove me into back then when I was my parents, I used to I saw a particular local community a particular friend in my local community where he's inside the mosquito nets. So he's packed all the plastics inside the mosquito nets, and then it was so full. And I asked them, "Oh, what is the plan for this?" And then he said he wants to actually give it to the recyclers, the people who will buy it from him, which was a really really exciting idea because I was broke at that moment and I didn't have any really have any sort of income. So I was like, okay, I think that's what I'm gonna do at the moment. And although um it's still at home, the nets, the plastic full of nets, yeah, the plastics inside the net is still at home. However, that has been a constraint, like taking it to the recyclers, because I've researched and tried to know the recyclers in Ibadan, and people that would, because it was so big, transporting it to the people, to those recyclers. So I couldn't do that before I left Nigeria, and I know that this has propelled me to actually do one of the projects that I'm doing at the moment currently in Nigeria, and where I am currently using my local community as the stats, where there can be sorting and processing of this recyclable materials, like the woman from the video has said that in order to effectively have a sustainable environment, we need to sort those recyclables, and this is with the help of the government. So at the moment, the project is facing some constraints, even though we're trying to like research. I have a partner in Nigeria that I'm trying to like work with, and it's still not balancing based on the the resources that we're going to be using, and also who are we to recycle to give it to. So that's one of the problems. I know that Lagos has tons of recyclable companies that someone can partner with at the moment, but um we're finding it quite hard. And that brings me to the recycling tools, whereby we're trying to use the color code. Like here in UK, you have the bins with the color codes, where this one is for compost, this one is for plastic, this one is for metal. And um we've just come with a different idea that if we want to do that, it will cost us a lot, and that's when we have to partner with um some small business, so like Smedan, where they can give us grants and all of that. However, before we get to that point, we can still provide plastics like that, like for uh, um, for commercial use, which it has like a lid on it, like a metal lid. However, it is big, and it could fit in like probably 20 kg of probably plastics or um maybe cardboard or paper that we want to like recycle. So we're trying to like put this in strategic points in the estate. So one of this is that's a recycling tool that we can use in order to sort out her um our bins, our waste. And then the probably the one of the bin is gonna have like green for maybe plastic, maybe yellow for compost, and then that's one of the ideas. And this could be liaised with production companies that could actually produce that, because I don't really think is advisable, because I don't have funds to bring those things from here to Nigeria. So I would have to like liaise with people that would produce that. So that's where collaboration and partnering comes into play. And for weather apps, I know that UK is more effective when it comes to weather, like, and more reliable. And I know that Nigeria also has the weather app. However, it's not so reliable. There could be sun today, and then they could be saying there will be sun today, and then it's raining. So, um, and we have digital environmental experts in terms of creating apps that they can create websites, they can create apps. We just need to collaborate with this set of people, and either here in diaspora or in Nigeria, to be able to bring this to life. And training is really, really important. So I made mention of Kenny West waste management. It gives training to training is one of the most important thing he does to his employees. And this helps them to like develop skills, and it helps them to like employ more people from the local community. And project creation for engagements in the environment, which also this creates greener jobs. And experts in the IT can develop apps, like I said, on weather and climate change. Google Weather is already in use. However, it's more efficient in developed countries because of their accuracy. So I'll probably just leave that with that.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Um, Mr. Daniel Oderidesa, with the ongoing negotiations for a global plastic treaty aiming to address the full life cycle of plastics, how can Nigeria as a country align its national policies to support and benefit from this international initiative? I'd like to make this a two-part question, and as I ask you, I would also ask Oluwadara. So the first one, I texted it already. With the ongoing negotiation for a global plastic treaty aiming to address the full life cycle of plastics, how can Nigeria align its national policies to support and benefit from this international initiative? And the second one, sir, like an addition to it, because we want to get all we can from your wealth of knowledge and experience too. We would like to know, let's say you have 5 minutes with a policymaker as regards this. You know he has the power to change things, to move things, to influence policies around this. So what would you tell him? What are the things that you've been waiting and just wishing the things to say that would shift the not just plastic policy, but that would become almost an economic impact for Nigeria? I want you to help us combine the two together and give us a masterpiece, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much for that. So firstly, the Global Plastic Treaty. Well, the Global Plastic Treaty follows the drive we have globally as regards, for instance, let's say the Ellen MacArthur Foundation motion as regards the circular economy or circular plastic economy, for instance. So it includes things around recycling, boosting collection, funding mechanisms, and things like that. However, I would like to focus more on the microplastics, or what I would call the problematic plastics. Or let me first start with also saying that sometime last year we had the UN Global Plastic Treaty by the Nigeria NPAP. That's event held in Abuja last year, where we tried to prepare for INC4, and what we did then was to have a multi-stakeholder collaboration, a panel session where all sectors were represented, the private sector, the informal sector too was not left out, and they shared their insights as regards what they want Nigeria to speak about in that INC, and it went very well, especially the informal sector giving their motive around, okay, well, what they would like to see, what are their challenges, what are their priorities. They talked a lot. They talked even about the unhealthy competition that is existing in the sector. I mean, we're trying to solve a problem, and there's still an unhealthy competition around it, and so it speaks to the fact that there's still a lot to be done, and to really understand what the motive is, and the need for the shared vision or a collaboration towards achieving the same goal. So those things are still missing. We even still see the duplication of effort and things like that. So until we all come together to have a unified voice as regards plastic action, we might not really be able to get the best out of the plastic treaty. Then I was talking about microplastics and the problematic plastics. So we have problematic unnecessary plastics. We also have problematic necessary plastics. So one thing about the problematic necessary plastics are plastics that you must use. Those are your laminates, your sweet wrappers, your tomato paste wrappers, your yes, Capri-Sun, for those that like Capri-Sun around us here, and things like that. So you must use them, because you definitely have to sell using those plastics. So they're problematic. They're not recyclable. Some of them are even micro or in fragments. They're not. The collection rate is very low, but then you have to use them, so that makes them necessary. So but what can we do as regards that? So the treaty is saying you must innovate. You must try to redesign as much as possible, and so these are things that Nigeria needs to begin to look into. But then it is hard. I've worked with a project. There was a time Dano Milk was trying to see how they can start collecting their sachets. And I'm not sure the age bracket you have here, but then if you look back, let's say 20 years ago, you would remember when we used to have all these raffles. Where they will ask you to keep your picnic sachets, keep like 10 sachets, and then come for a draw and all those things. So those things were fun then. I remember I used to keep all those sachets a lot, but we don't even see them happen anymore now. Can we go back to those stages where we keep those laminates, just keep them? And then you churn them in. So probably not even for the raffles, but just for the sake of recycling. I just create a kind of buyback system for those laminates and things like that. Yeah, so there's a need to redesign. There's a need for funding for innovation. So we see now that most of these companies are beginning to shun to bring out like call for applications for innovative solutions towards addressing this plastics. But then we have the problematic unnecessary plastic. So these are your straws, for instance, your plastic spoon, plastic cups. I mean, for those ones, we just have to have a phased ban for them, because your balloons, for instance. I mean, we might not be able to totally eradicate it, because I mean, we all love balloons, but then, yeah, there should be a phased ban or a reduction in that production. So if it's not necessary, then don't use it. So we see companies begin to redesign their packaging to get rid of straws, for instance. So these are conversations that can be brought into the Nigerian picture, that is probably new to what is already on ground, that the plastic treaty addresses, that is the funding mechanism, the need for reduction, the need for boosting collection, and things like that. So I believe that answers the first part of the question. So the second part around policy. So if there's something that really needs to change, it's about the private sector, yes, implementing their EPR. So the private sector must be able to be transparent in giving out figures of their plastic use in Nigeria. So we have the likes. I won't need to mention names of companies here, but these companies need to be sincere about how much plastic they are using per month, per year, because this is what guides the APR at the end. But when you're not transparent about how much plastics you're using, then they cannot really give you the bill. Okay, well, this is how much you really need to invest. So the policy for the for transparency in data, yes, data verification, or yes, transparent data publishing or things like that to the responsible government institutions, probably NESRA or the Federal Ministry of Environment, and yet the implementation of recycled contents for your plastic packaging. So we need companies to follow what Nestle has done. Nestle has set the pace by incorporating 50% recycling content. That is quite a lot. Some companies are battling with 10%, but if we can even at least have 10%, 20%. Recycled content, it will really go a long way, increasing the collection rates, even the monetary value you see from plastics. The people at the bottom of the pyramid that are acting as plastic collectors, they'll earn more money because it's not becoming more competitive, the demand is higher and things like that. So we need to make sure that companies are giving verified data, and they are incorporating at least 10% recycled content. So if that policy can be achieved, it really boosts the recycling rate in Nigeria from 10% to probably 30%, and maybe a futuristic goal of having 50% to 60% recycling rates in Nigeria. So these are things that I believe will really go a long way in terms of policy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So much, sir. So much, sir. And I would like to say, in case you have contributions or questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. We are almost at the Q&A. Yeah, Magdalene Sati, Caprison, for instance, have redesigned their straw from plastic to paper straw. Oh, wow. Little steps in the right direction. Thank you for that insight, Magdalene. Excuse me, Oluwadara Adewale, I'd like to take the question with you now. So, I want to ask almost the same question I asked Daniel Derrida, and I want you to give me your perspective. I think your cleanup Makoko is coming up 14th of this month. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're right.
14th of this month. So I know you are actively involved in waste management to the best of your capacity and reach. But let's take, for instance, you have the opportunity right now to sit with a policymaker, someone with the capacity to make decisions in relation to plastic waste and innovation. You know that if you can convince him enough and you give viable reasons and implementable actions and rewards, national and political and all these things, you will be able to get court his favor and make a change in the society. And you just have, let's say you have 2 3 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, and you want to chunk everything together. You've been waiting for this for a while. What are the things you would tell him You don't know, he could be listening right now on this program. So, what would you
That's
tell him,
true.
sir?
Right, thank you so much. As you answered the question, I was thinking of someone in my mind as a special advisor to Lagos State government on climate change and circular economy. That's obviously still IOC. So let's imagine she's in front of us, or she's part of this meeting right now. So the first thing I would just let her know first is that Nigeria is sitting on massive water resources, plastic waste. What many see as problem is actually a doorway to jobs, clean energy innovation, especially for most vulnerable communities. Yeah, that's the first thing. Because I used to say that as much as we want to reduce our waste, the population keep increasing and the waste keep increasing too as well. So and now this is the problem. Over 2.5 billion tons of plastic waste are generated annually there, and most of it end up in either gutters, rivers, open dumps, damaging earth, flooding city, polluting ecosystem. You don't even have choice. It's over there. Even as much as Roma is doing, and some other agencies, it's still over everywhere. But while the waste pile up, community are waiting. They're actually expecting government to do something. Everybody shouts Lagos is smiling. And I just want to tell you, madam, they are also eager to act once they are involved. And but they lack to some of them lack training. Some of them even lack how they can actually participate in a relatable way. And they need enabling policies, not laws that will enforce them, not laws that will make them look as if they are slave. You know, Nigerians love that thing so much. Whenever you arrest them, they be like, oh, we are slave. It's not done like that outside the country. So now this is the solution. Let's turn plastic waste into opportunity at the community level, not by waiting for billions of dollar facilities. Because doing that, I think we will be postponing it. So we just have to do it as fast as possible. So the first thing we do is to start translating plastic policy into action guide. So we are going to have a policy. We know that by July 1st, Lagos State is banning single use of plastic, it's very nylon, and we can actually have action guys that took it that's very simple that and training that can help youth, women to start a micro recycling business. And we it will help them. They don't have to hold millions of naira, hundreds of thousands to start with that. And secondly, we support small scale recycling in energy projects like modular pyrolysis units that can convert plastic waste into fuel, and it can be used in some rural community that they will be upgraded totally. And also too, we can incentivize local innovations through tax breaks. And I think that's important. We have to do that too as well. And small grants for those who go into recycling business and even competitions for schools. I know Lagos State is doing that currently, but we can enlarge that to all schools, including private and public schools. We can actually put that into tech ops to tech guys, tech industries to come up with innovative ideas. There are indigenous machines we can use as well too. And artisans working on plastic too, they start getting loans. There should be microfinance banks partnering with this project. And what we can do now is that setting up a plastic innovative fund that supports grassroots projects. Then we mandate that a percentage of state budget. Now, this is where I'm going actually. Now, because people don't take actions until they are fully involved. Now, when we're going to Makoko, there's something someone told me that if these people are not, they are too stubborn. Even when we went to police station, they told us that these people are very stubborn. They won't listen to you guys until you bring them along. They are part of you. So this way I'm going. We have to inculcate, like we are setting up a percentage for a recycling company. That means in the community, each community in Lagos, they will have their own small recycling company. So in that company now, each community, they have maybe their ballet, their stakeholders, they have percentage they are taking in for their community development. So if the recycling company is making 10,000 naira per month, that means the community is taking like 4,000 naira out of it. The government is taking, or the management is taking the other percentage. And at the same time, to serve as major job opportunity for them too as well. And we can also launch a plastic to power pilot in one slum. Maybe we have a lot of slum in Lagos and in Nigeria. We can actually run that to an peri-urban area to clean up the dam and create job at the same time for young people especially all these Aboki people. I think the moderator was talking about the way they used to molest them and some other things. I think if someone can come up with a business that actually can bring all these people under him or her, I think it will help. And they will be policy control, there will be policy control, the necessary hygiene and the major effect that's able to take note, they were able to do that effectively. And I'll just say this why this matter. This is not just environmental work, it is economic and it is a social and it is a climate action. It shows leadership if you can buy into this idea and it brings dignity to the community currently living in among waste. And giving them a policy they can act on, you will give them future they can build themselves up. And I believe we must turn policy to something that people can make, they can actually make, they can see something that is kind of friendly. Most of the Nigerian see policy as something that is against them. They even think it's meant for rich people, it's meant for stakeholders in Nigeria. So and it's something that is educative, practical step and innovative for them. Thank you so much. I think I should to get some fun through the
Yes. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. So please, Eunice Bola, do you have any final words? And I would ask Daniel Derrinde for the same before we take the question and answer. Eunice Bola, any final words that you'd like to add to everything that has been said? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I would just like to add something that is for the circular economy, which would probably be helpful to the economy of the country, Nigeria. So I've noticed that here in the UK that they have on the bottles they have 100% recycled. These are bottles that have been recycled before, and even papers, tissue papers that has been recycled. And then these recycled materials, they are being resold, they are being sold again for cheaper amounts. And I think larger percentage of the UK occupants or will rather go for the cheaper one because things are expensive anyways. So they rather go for the cheaper ones before they go for the expensive ones, which is something Nigeria could actually imbibe or like inculcate into their industrial system, whereby stakeholders come together, unite together, and you know uh, 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 um, recycle their materials. However, they put it out in a lesser amounts, whereby this would help poverty situation in Nigeria, and also people would definitely be happy to even buy something less when they see one that is cheaper, and then they can see the new one that is more expensive. And definitely it's the same thing, it's just is recycled and is one is not. And the people that are like that are below average in Nigeria definitely will probably go for the lesser amounts product. And I also want to add the word of Lauren Singer. Finally, she said that um waste is for tossers. So tossers means like fool or people who are not smart or something like that. So therefore, if you're um, wasting things, if you're putting things out, okay, so she put trash is for tossers. So if you're just dropping your trash on the floor, or like if you see anyone doing that, you probably want to say that particular word and tell them the meaning of tossers, which would make them want to rethink their behavior or their act on them throwing papers or like plastics just on the floor. And I also, for recyclables here for the industries, I think it's already written on the bottles that the instruction on how to recycle it. So most industries will write there that they should squash the bottles and then put the lid on it. So anything, no dirt would probably enter, or like it will still be able to be recycled with because of the lid. So these are things that industries they could work on as in unity as stakeholders and in partnership with the government. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Eunice. Daniel, during this, any final word or just a closing remark before we go to the
All right. I
lesson?
also echo the voices of Eunice. So let's be ambassadors. Let's practice what we preach. I mean that is where we miss it most times. I mean, we have a lot of people in these conversations, and when you have the if you really are separating waste in your homes or you're really disposing waste rightly, you will see that some of us are falling short of this kind of thing. So I would like to encourage us to be lights out there. Let people see what we do and be willing to imitate those kind of good behaviors. So behavioral change is very, very key. It's something that we must achieve as a nation. So let's preach the word as much as we can. It's possible to beat plastic pollution. It's really possible, but then it's a collective effort that will really help us get there. Not working in silos, not trying to duplicate efforts, not trying to want to showcase that we are the best in this and this and that. But when we come together, all sectors putting their hands on deck to fight this, we'll definitely beat it. So I want us to keep that energy high and yes, practice what we preach. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Do we have questions from the participants and viewers of today's meeting? Questions or insights to be added? Anything particularly would like to contribute to the conversation? Do we have that in the comments, any section? Although we have a lot of facts and details in the comments, I would like to ask if we have questions in this regard. Thank you. I was going to call you already, sir. Doctor, you can go ahead, Dr. Toby. Yes, sir, you can go ahead. I didn't know I was muted. Dr. Toby, are you with me? Your hand is raised, but I can't hear you. Yes, sir. I can't hear you. All right, then you can check your mic. It's not indicating either. Let me mute and unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you
Okay,
now.
great. Sorry about that.
No problem.
A studio. So I was saying that this is full cycle for me, especially because some of the issues Daniel raised now were similar issues that he told me about 2 years ago when I was interviewing him for a project on tires. Even though that was on tires, he hinted a lot about waste because the organization he was with at the time worked a lot with plastic waste. Now, I feel that a lot of, and I'm speaking now as someone who was raised and trained as a political scientist, I feel a lot of the problems we have, especially in my generation, with pollution generally is because people are not oriented or socialized or educated to see waste management, specifically plastic waste, as part of our everyday life. So just like all of the speakers have said and hinted, many people go about their daily lives without realizing that they are part of the problem. And indeed, trash is for tosers, because why would you trash things that you could recycle, upcycle, or put in a different environment that people will use it more productively. And so it makes me begin to question the basis of the education system itself. I don't know if this has always been the case. I've had to speak with some elders who told me that during their higher education days when they went to school, they had to form collectives where they use some of the things they disposed for other purposes, or some of the things they quote and unquote were supposed to waste for other purposes. I've also had people told me that even culturally, that waste is almost a taboo. And that's why I'm kicking back a little bit against that Yoruba what's it called? Proverb that says that and we saw that in the video that Jumoke spoke about. By the way, I was at the launching of the Waste Museum in Ibadan, and I can say that that was a very surreal moment for me. As a matter of fact, it shifted my thinking about waste entirely. And till date is the reason why I'm very passionate about environmental politics and urban political ecology. The conversations I had with Jumoke at that launch made me think that even municipal governments, that is city governments, have more influence in terms of waste management than the federal government. And so in terms of distribution of power, more power ought to be placed in the hands of regional and local governments. But that is, by the way, what I was saying is that our education system hasn't been conducive enough to raise a lot of people to be environmental advocates. And that's why on days like this, the World Environmental Day, there's usually one program the university organizes to orientate people about waste, and that's it. There is no mainstreaming into the curriculum. There is no even institutions that claim to have a sustainability or recycling unit do not carry out campaigns in a way that involve the lecturers or involve the tutors in the institutions. And if you train a graduate for 4 years or 5 years or 6 years or 7 years, or sometimes 10 years, as the cases in Nigeria, and that person doesn't hear about recycling except on the World Environmental Day, how do you expect that person to contribute to projects related to recycling? And so this is one of the main things I feel stakeholders ought to be looking at in terms of redirecting policy towards education. Yes, corporates have a way of conducting awareness. Daniel told us about the extended producer's responsibility and some other CSR projects that corporate organizations are expected to do. However, they are just barely 40% of the real amount of stakeholders that operate in waste and production of waste. So I'm trying to sensitize all of us about the importance of waste education, the importance of environmental education as a deliberate effort. So I believe that the information they provided us, the resources they shared with us are sufficient for us to go and learn more. But on our home part, let us sign up for courses. Let us attend more webinars like this. Let us, speak to experts. Tell me what I need to know. For instance, was Jumoke who told me that I didn't have to trash. So I was moving out of my apartment in Ibadan, and this is for Eunice who's thinking of where to put your waste in Ibadan. I would say you can walk up to Jumoke Olokere and tell her that you need to put this somewhere. Can she advise or suggest people you should sell them to? So I was moving out of my apartment in Ibadan, and I just remember that, Jumoke has a waste museum, and I called her, Mama, I don't want to trash these things. Can you come and get them? And she gladly came and took most of papers, plastics, rubbers, and I was happy that I didn't have to, number one, pay for waste managers to come pick that, because I know it eventually ends up in the dump site. They don't really sort it. But again, I was happy that she had taught me something that I was able to put to practice. And I hope to teach that to other people too. As a matter of fact, in my house, I teach my kids how to sort out waste. We have a blue plastic, a blue bin, we have a black bin. And this is how I intend to pass it on to the next generation. So this is more like a challenge to all of us and an encouragement to that we need to begin to take environmental education more deliberately and hope that maybe 10 years or 20 years from now, we'll start seeing the end of plastic waste in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Well, we are drawing to the close to the end of today's meeting. Okwemi, please, can you get me the registration link in the chat box? The registration link to the Graduate Research Clinic. I would like to formally introduce everyone to the Graduate Research Clinic. I know some people are, thank you so much, sir. Some people are no more on this call, but if you are on this call and you are not yet a member of the Graduate Research Clinic, this program and many others that we've hosted this year and that we will be hosting, and various collaborations and research of stuff that we'll be doing is being done by the Graduate Research Clinic. It is an interdisciplinary, intergenerational platform where we have academics of different levels, undergraduates, postgraduates, doctoral students, lecturers, professors, and various people in the academics and even beyond, professionals, coming together to hold conversations like this, share knowledge, participate in workshops. Belonging to a community of this nature is important for collaboration, for networking, and for moving ahead in our individual pursuits. So, are you a student of different universities? We have people from different universities. Are you currently going through your own research, doing your thesis, your dissertation, and you need a community like this? Please come and join us. The registration link is down below in the comment section, and we will be glad to have you on the team contributing, joining, and being a panelist like this in the related field of yours, networking with the frontliners in your discipline. These are some of the opportunities that you will be able to get when you join the GRC. All right, so the registration link is there. And thank you so much for joining tonight. For the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Okpeyemi Usman for that. Okpeyemi, are we good to go? Okpeyemi, can you hear me?
Sir, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, it has been a wonderful session, and I must truly say that the seminar has enriched my knowledge, and I believe that is the same for everyone. Most importantly, I like the fact that our panelists, they are not just the talking type. We can see that from their insights and everything, they are actively involved in those things that they are saying. And I believe that each and every one of us here has a vital role to play in protecting the environment. So from today, let's start paying attention to our environment. So on that note, I want to thank our panelists, and also I want to appreciate everyone who joined this meeting today. Thank you so much, and most a special thanks to our esteemed panelists, Madam Eunice Bolaon, Mr. Adewoye Oluwadara, and Mr. Daniel Oderinde. Your valuable insights has really enriched the conversation, and thank you so much. We look forward to more collaboration with you, and we look forward to seeing more of you outside there. And to our wonderful participants, you made this session really, really, really meaningful. So we appreciate each and every one of you. And just to add, the Graduate Research Clinic is active on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and we also have a WhatsApp platform, just like Mr. John mentioned. So do well to join us there. So we look forward to more partnership, more collaboration, and feel free to reach out to us at any time. Thank you so much. Look forward to having you again.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. As we close, please can we kindly turn on our camera for a picture screen grab of our faces, please? Can you kindly just turn on your camera? Yes, thank you, Eunice. Looking forward to the compliance of this policy by others. Let's start, even if we are talking about waste compliance, let's do. Thank you, Mr. Korede, madam. I see you. Can we have others? Okay, I am John Daniel. Let me turn on my, although I might not be able to. Let me see. Okay, can we have that? Mr. Segun Ayodele, sir, is this something you can do right there? Magdalene, Okpeyemi, Justin, all right, let me just take that for those who have done it. Thank you so much. Wow. It's been an amazing time here with us. So, in case you want to network with one or two persons, the panelists, the members, and you have ideas to contribute to them and stuffs like that, please feel free to do that. The room will be open for the next 10 minutes, I guess, and you can network. Maybe Oluwadara, you can connect with I think Dr. Toby was talking about the person in Ibadan, and I'm sure you can find things like that quite useful to what you're doing. And other persons, please, other persons. So I will be yielding my mic now. There's no need for degrees or benediction to the end of the meeting for tonight. Please do well to join us on other
What about many
programs.
menus, sir?
You can take that virtually. I can always play a video from Instagram or YouTube. Well, thank you, sir. So, thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate the time. All right. Thank you, and do have a wonderful week. Thank you so much. Let me try and screen grab another one. If we can have more pictures. Descend. All right. Agent Daniel is. Jacob Bola, your hand is raised. Please, you have the floor. Sir, you can unmute. Okay, I think maybe that was a mistake. Dr.
John,
Toby,
I wanted to
yes.
confirm if you have stopped the recording.